for a few days and then later taken back to be dumped to where the accident scene physically happened. So it started as a justice for him. Now the Prime Minister arrogantly told the people to go and deliver petitions in the Tinkundla centers, which is in the numbers are 59 that represent members of parliament. So as the numbers grew of these young people who were protesting, but they then started linking their demands to the major political mainstream demands, which major thing is to demand political or the banning of political parties and also the unconditional release of political prisoners, which then angered the king and the prime minister to force them to unleash heavy-handed violence by the army and the police. The people then retaliated. This is the 9th week since this thing started, and the people are still on the street. Retaliated back, and they started banning and closing down businesses that have links with the monarchy, and also that includes the Swaziland breweries, for instance, which was burned down completely on Monday night. As a result, the police already, as we speak, they've already killed 9 protesters, which were shot at a point blank, mainly by the army. 28 yesterday since morning were in and out of theaters. The number may rise that I've just given you of the deaths, and I'm just giving you in one city, which is Manzini. We are still compiling the victims of the other places, including the capital city, Baban. What has happened now is that I can safely say to you, as early as 5 p.m. in Swaziland, if you are on the South African side, mainly the Osho border gate or Kolela, I will advise you to stay there because your safety is not guaranteed, and the truck are the major target because they are seen as an extension of the monarchy and the businesses.
Yes. Now, also, Lucky, I think for a very long time now, we have learned about the unhappiness, looking at the political climate that exists in Swaziland. There's been a lot of unhappiness, and as you pointed out, in terms of opposition, political opposition, that's one issue, but also looking at the monarch himself. There have been huge question marks raised. We've learned about his lifestyle, his lavish lifestyle, the cost to the people of Swaziland. And these obviously are issues that have been building or brewing for a very, very long time.
Yes, indeed, my brother. It has been brewing for a very long time. And what has exacerbated this situation is that there is what you call in South Africa NSFAS, the student bursary loan, which helps students to go to institution of higher learning. That kind of bursary loan scheme in Swaziland has been stopped complete for the past 3 years. So now those that are able to access institution of higher learning, it is through their hard-earned resources of their parents, or their parents are the ones that are few and better off. But even then, when they come back from these universities or colleges, they come back and sit at home because jobs now, including your cleaner, to be a cleaner in any government offices, is now reserved for people that are either relatives or connected to the royal family or top government officials. This is happening from private sector to the last office of government that you may think of. So now you have the young people, which is 60% of the population in Swaziland, unemployed. Young girls being forced into some to prostitution or being preyed on by perverts and sugar daddies. Now you have these young boys now literally smoking nyaope, sitting at home. The hunger is so dire that it has then turned into a volley of anger. That's what we see now.
Well, and these reports that initially surfaced about the king having fled, and we've seen that the government obviously retract on the statement saying that no, he didn't flee. What do you make out of those reports, Lucky?
Well, we're not surprised by the denial of government. It is a normal thing. The Swazi government, if, for instance, they are specialists in denialism, the Swazi government will take the cup. For instance, I will tell you, on Tuesday late afternoon, just after the internet was shut down in the country, the very same Prime Minister received an audio recording that was recorded to an undisclosed location from the eldest daughter of the king, Princess Sikanyis. I myself received that audio. Of course, it is in deep eSwati, where she was apologizing on behalf of her father for the mayhem and the pain and the suffering that the people of Swaziland have been subjected to. She further on apologized on behalf of her own siblings for mocking the people that are protesting, calling them funny names. Now, in my culture or in my humanity, I've never heard of a child that will go and apologize on behalf of his or her father. It is either the father, if he has wronged a particular homestead or community, he will ask from his elder uncles and brothers and sisters that are older than him to accompany him to apologize to that particular community or family. So for a child, we found extremely rude to even go and do such a thing. So it tells you that the country is in an autopilot. Indeed, we can confirm that the king left on Monday night. He might have sneaked in back, but what we know that he left on Monday night and his first stop was in Mozambique. Unfortunately, we are told that he was picked up by a private jet that came from one of the Arab nations. And we are telling them that if they continue to harbor this dictator and this monster, there will be a point where some of them, when the democratic hits Swaziland, will cut ties with them.
Yes, I think there's two issues here which is very important to understand, Lucky. One is obviously we're looking at democracy, we're looking at the pro-democracy movement in Swaziland, and the other, the fact that the country is being ruled by a monarchy. Now, just from a cultural perspective, in terms of loyalty to the king and owing allegiance to the king, what are your thoughts, on this aspect, the monarchy versus a democracy in a country like Swaziland?
Well, for instance, the people of Swaziland now, one demand that I forgot to mention earlier on, which broke the back of the hammer, was when the people started calling for a constitutional assembly, which will then elect an interim government that will lead the country at least for 2 years. In that 2 years, one of the major work that they must do is to prepare a new constitution for the country, which will then determine the nature of future democratic Swaziland. And that includes the future role of the monarch if it is still needed. So the anger that we pick in Swaziland is because for the first time, there is no corner of Swaziland, including the rural areas, that is not covered by this hotel, which has shaken the regime to the core. But that's